Hello, and welcome to VETSOCIAL Voices. Usually we record these, but I have such an awesome guest that I really do hold up high on a pedestal, as I was telling her. I don't think she believes it. She's definitely in this entrepreneur, this veteran community. She's definitely one of the people that I consider one of my heroes as I watch her out there doing the things that she's doing, which are truly incredible. You have to have some true grit, some passion, some perseverance to be able to pull off the things that she pulls off, and just be wise, as I told her, like, oh, wise one. So we're going to bring her on, and we just want to thank, of course, many different people, but Veteran Lifestyle Magazine, which we're streaming to right now, Vet Social. As you know, Vet Social 25 is coming up at 12 and 13 September. We are so excited. I mean, I'm excited about everything, but I'm really excited and humbled this time because here we are 5 years later, and some of the keynote, and I say keynote speakers, multiple that are coming. I think all the speakers are keynote speakers in my heart. We have just a tremendous person. Her name's Stephanie Brown from Rosie Network. She is coming. We have Lauren Hope from Recurrent, and also from the Military Influencer Conference, and just so many other. Oh, we have our guest coming up is actually going to be doing part 2 of a talk that she did last year at Vet Social 24. Okay, so this is going to be awesome. I forgot that just until right now. It popped in my brain. So hopefully we're going to get this. Really is this episode is about Friendology, which is basically the title. I'm like butchering the title of her talk, but this is Friendology that started over 10 years ago, when I was just a little baby entrepreneur. Candyss gave me some of my first breaks in the business, if you will. So anyways, without further ado, let's bring her on and figure out who she is and why the heck is she here. So hi, Candyss.
Hi,
It is
Brian.
very good to see you.
Good
I'm really excited about this one. I'm telling you, I'm not just saying that. I'm like, you know what? We got Candyss coming on. This is going to be awesome. And we're going to learn a lot about what you're doing. So why are you here? Why are you here? Why?
That's a philosophical question.
It is. It really is. No, but tell us just a little bit about who you are, and then we're going to dive into all the other cool things that you're doing. But tell us, who are you? What are you doing? Why are you a part of this community?
I'm Candyss Bryant, and I have been around in the veteran space for it's over 25 years now, Ryan. I'm not a spring chicken, and
Either am I. And it's hard because I'm looking at you. You actually look a lot younger than I did back 10 years ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm really getting old. I think everyone else is just staying the same age, but I feel old. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, and I came into the veteran space very much by happenstance. It's like I stumbled into it. I'm very transparent when I say that I believe it is divine intervention, that this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm living a purpose-driven life. And it brought me straight into the heart of the Ranger community way back when. And I had the great fortune for more than 20 years, be able to help facilitate and coordinate the Best Ranger competition. And in doing that, I led a lot of the external to the competition facets, where bringing community together, watching people connect, and figuring out how to build a thriving community. And in that journey, I was able to establish an organization called the the National Ranger Association. And in doing that, we provided some backbone support to the Ranger Hall of Fame, which then aligned me directly with the 75th Ranger Regiment and a greater faction of the Ranger community. And so, you spend 25 years doing things, you start to understand how to, where to make connections, who's doing what. And it's a hard, you become a part of the fabric of the community at large. And there for a while, for about 10 years, I ran a business, more than 10 years. I ran a business that was an event-based business, because when I was doing Best Ranger competition at the time, we were really the only significant military competition, which now there's tons, right? And so people would call when they needed something to happen, and people would be like, you need to talk to Candyss, you need to talk to Candyss Bryant. And so I was able to help either in some fashion. I was able to help LeapFest and the PJ Rodeo, and in the Marine Corps community, the I can't remember the name of it now, but their main competition, and the International Sniper competition, and all these various different events that was centered around the military community, and just really helped me network. And then spent some time in servicing transitioning veterans with the Gallant Few. And so my career has just led me really kind of, if you mind mapped it would be interesting. It's an interesting mind map.
I totally forgot about the Gallant Few, that you worked with them. And I do remember, of course, Candyss and Associates. And that was the event-based company, correct?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So
I still have Candyss and Associates. It's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah, it's just depending on what I'm doing with it for the day.
No, I 100%. I think that's a lot of entrepreneurs. A lot of people looking from the outside don't realize that when you say you're an entrepreneur, that can mean from day to day or hour to hour. That can look different,
Mm-hmm.
depending on who you're invoicing. What do you think about that?
Right.
True or false? So why? I think I know. I'm pretty sure, like 100%. But why Rangers? Why are you so entrenched in the Ranger community?
Again, I just so the way my story started is I wanted to be a general manager of a baseball team, and that took me to Columbus, Georgia, because we had moved into a facility that was built for the gold medal winning softball team from the 1996 Olympics. And shortly after we moved there, I left that organization, and I had a friend that was a headhunter. And she said, I have somebody you need to meet. And he was the person that was hired to raise the money to build the National Infantry Museum. And in that, a couple of projects what I had to do is I had to take this binder and I had to vet all of these different organizations to see if they were still existing. If we're talking at that time, we still had a lot of World War II veterans with us. And so it was calling to see, are they still contributing to the community, or are they retiring and not retiring their organizations? And so I spent a lot of time doing that. And that's how when I took the job, I told him, I said, look, I don't know anything about the military. I don't feel like I need to know anything about the military, and I'm not a hierarchy person. Like, it's just not in my DNA. And he said, that's okay. I'll be the one that interfaces with the military. So I went through this process, and it was like the Grinch who stole Christmas. My shriveled heart just grew and grew and grew. And I gained this affinity for our military. And at that time, I mean, I built a vernacular. I could carry myself very well within the Fort Benning circle of folks, but I still had a very, very limited knowledge base, right? And so I don't think I really truly understood infantry versus different components and how everything functioned within the military space. But I gained a vernacular and people started to take notice. One of the other projects I led is we had to build a communication piece for the campaign to raise the money for the museum. And the organization had a newsletter called the Infantry Bugler that they would print out. It was like black and white, just a typical newsletter. And we turned that Infantry Bugler into a news magazine. And it still exists today. Like if you go out on Fort Benning into the main hall, that Infantry Bugler is still there, almost in the same form in which we developed it all those years ago. But what was neat about that is we had chapters all across the country, and the AR, that at the time it was the Ranger Training Brigade, was a chapter of the National Infantry Association. And they said, look, if you've ever got white space that you need filled in this magazine, call on us and we'll fill it for you. And they offered to take me around to the various different battalions of Ranger training. And so I got the tour, the 50-cent tour of everything. And I just kind of got indoctrinated into Rangers on the TRADOC side, into Ranger school. I ended up leaving there fairly abruptly, and I took a job at Columbus State University, and I just got a call one day that was from the Ranger Training Brigade, and they said that the colonel sent them to find me. And it was it was odd and unanticipated. And that was when they brought me in and said, hey, we've got this thing called the Best Ranger competition and we need some help. And that was really it. I think that was in 1999 or 2000. And I think the rest is history. From then on, it was, in essence, at least on my side, it was, a love affair with the Ranger community. And they really taught me about the Ranger Creed, and I have really adopted it for myself. And it's kind of like just like when people are recruited into something like being a part of a Ranger unit, right? People see something in you, and they believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And maybe they're, and in my life, I think it's true that not very many of us have ideal childhoods, or things, but I definitely had some relationship gaps in my life. And so when I had these distinguished people that were looking at me and saying, hey, I see something in you, we see something enough in you that you can help us, that just instilled something in me that I can't describe. And obviously I feel like it's not being indebted to it. I don't feel like I have to do the things that I do, but it is, it definitely made undeniable loyalty.
It seems like it seems like a calling.
Yes.
It's definitely, as I alluded to before, maybe before we started, the grit factor, but really the passion that you have for it. And I did notice, as I was doing some casual research on your website, I did notice that the Ranger Creed was a centerpiece to, what you're doing there, but it does overflow into you as a person as well, um, which is great in my opinion, because it's real, it's authentic, it's organic, as some of us say, for sure. um, let's let me take it back, because you did kind of open it up, and I was just thinking, like, we've known each other for so long, and yet I know so little about you. Where are you from? Where were you born?
I was born in Oscoda, Michigan, on an Air Force base.
Okay.
My dad was very briefly in the Air Force. Um, and then my parents divorced shortly thereafter. We moved to Ohio, so I grew up in Ohio, in central Ohio, just
Uh,
south of Columbus.
oh boy. So I bet you are happy living in Texas. And of course, now as I say that, um, has any have you been affected, or has anyone that you know been affected by everything that's going on down there?
It's been a crazy week, for sure. The Guadalupe. So here in hill country in Texas, we're surrounded by rivers, lakes, and creeks. They're everywhere. And so what everybody's hearing on the news, the Guadalupe River, that is not really close to us. There's a good bit of mileage there. But there were other, like in where I live, is they say we clocked about 20 to 21 inches of rain. It's hard for us to tell on our rain gauges because they fill up in 5 inches, and you don't know what's overflowing. But it was more rain than I have ever experienced in my life. I know that I was up all night, because it was so relentless. And just not too far from here, we've got the San Gabriel River, we've got the Colorado River, and then we've got lakes, but lots of creeks that swell up. And so just a couple miles from here, quite a bit of flooding, and a lot of issues, still people missing. And so you still see the search helicopters out. But here, my family were on high ground, and fairly protected, and just kind of watching everything happen around you and feeling like it's weird because everything feels normal, but right down the road it's not normal. And to see like the death count go up every day and the missing continue to go up every day. We got a notice that my daughter went to high school. There was a boy that was found, and he didn't survive, and his family members are still missing. And so the schools that are dealing with that, even over the summer up here, it's just a tragic situation that's happening all over the country now. It's a strange anomaly.
Yeah, for sure. It is. It's definitely. It is tragic for sure. So let's get out of that, and let's talk a little bit about what are you doing right now. So really a huge pivot there, for sure. But tell us a little bit about the Ranger Legacy Foundation, and where are you with that right now? And before that, I know we know where kind of your Ranger origin story, but what made you come up with the idea of the Ranger Legacy?
Yeah, what happened with this? So back in 2019, I decided that I was going to change courses a little bit. I had done the Best Ranger competition for a lot of years. I had traveled and done all of these different events. My daughter was in middle school, and I decided that it was just time to make a change. And part of that, I'll just be really honest here. I don't know how much you want me to go into all of this, but a part of it was I had been doing things for so long. And when you work with the military, every 2 years, you've got to redo everything again, but then you still have to advance, right? And that's one thing. That dynamic is one thing, but the dynamic that you don't account for is I'm getting older, and the people that I'm working with are staying the same age in essence, because they're backfilling at that same age group. And so it just started to lead to tensions of, why aren't you listening to me? Why do I've been here for 20 years. Why do I have to rebuild trust? Why don't you just trust that it works this way? It's great. Like, believe me, it's great. And so this tensions were there, and the joy in it started to drain out of it. And then and really, quite honestly, I've spent so much and put so much attention to all that. I failed my family in a lot of ways. And so it's kind of like, is it time to reprioritize and do stuff differently? So we just came to that impasse, and I made those decisions, and I stepped away from everything for a couple of years. And I felt like I needed to do it completely and wholly, like just go ahead and get completely out of it. And I spent those couple of years just trying to figure out, okay, who is Candyss if she's not a part of the Ranger community? What does that look like? And so I really started to turn to looking at my community here, and how do I fit in the community and grow community here. And then I wanted to work on my spiritual health, because that was not in a great place. That was really important for me. And just to work on some other things, like, am I the same professional if I'm not doing stuff in one particular community? And so I stepped away from everything, and then you start to feel guilt, and you don't know how people are going to take you. Like, I didn't know, like, did people think I turned my back on them? Would they still love me? People didn't reach out and call. So then you start to feel lonely, and like, after 20 years, it didn't make a difference. And you just go through all of those things. And I think that's normal transition stuff that veterans go through, right? When they transition.
Very true.
Because everything moves on, and and you're trying to figure out what your life is going to be. And so I was going through all of that. I was being super intentional. I was going through therapy. I was doing EMDR therapy, just like I would suggest to the veterans that were transitioning. And I was also investing myself in local groups, women's groups, church groups. And all these messages really started to coalesce. And it was late 2022 when I had an aha moment. And I was like, okay, I can re-engage the Ranger community. But I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't want to go backwards. I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. So I didn't know what that was going to look like. And then it was probably just about 30 days later. I don't know the exact time frame, but I had a dream, a vision in the middle of the night. And that vision was to create a community center for in and around the Ranger community. And it was kind of one of those nights where, it was so vivid and so clear that you get up and you draw it out, and then you just can't release it. Like, it sits, it sits on your spirit, sits on your heart. And I spent a couple of months just mulling around in my mind, like, why would this be mine to do? Why would this be something that was placed on my heart? Because as a part of the center would be a place that the Ranger Hall of Fame could be. And right now it exists at the Airborne and Ranger Training Brigade, but it's very, very minimalized. And like, we could do really something special with it, and we could tell the Ranger story. And so I just had all this stuff that could happen. And so I really grappled with, man, is this my thing to do? And I couldn't shake it. And so I reached out randomly online, and I do this often. Like if I have an idea about something, I might just post something online and just see if it has any stickiness to it at all, you know? And sometimes you're really, really surprised. And then sometimes it's like, okay, I'll just leave that. And so I posed the question if I had any friends that had architectural and design skill background that'd be willing to work with me on something that I couldn't pay them for. I wasn't going to say out loud what it was for. And, you know, in public. And within 30 minutes, I had somebody that was in my inbox, and it was a ranger wife that said, basically, here I am. What do you got? I'll help you with whatever you want. And super, super talented lady that's been involved in this from the ground floor, and was just really a godsend. And at that moment, I was like, okay, anybody could have answered this call, but it was a ranger wife that did that. And I think that says something. And she was completely bought into the vision of, and, you know, said, I think that this is an excellent vision. And she helped me capture that vision in a way that could be presented to other people. And I put it together in a concept brief package. And then I spent then the majority of 2023 doing a stakeholder feasibility on it, where I just had conversation after conversation after conversation with leaders in the ranger community, taking them through this vision, and then asking the question, do you believe that this is meaningful, relevant, and timely for the community? And out of all of those conversations, so we only had one person that said, no, I don't think that this is the right thing to do. But
Why?
When you talk to,
I'm sorry to, why did that one person just didn't?
Hard to tell. I mean, it could be a whole host of things, and it wasn't in a mean-spirited way. It wasn't, you know, something that was like mean or derogatory. It was just like, hey, I just don't think this is the right thing. And I believe it was probably, this is a very ambitious leader, and he probably had maybe a vision that looked something different than what the vision that I was laying out. And if we went this way, then it might derail maybe something else that was, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know exactly, but I don't think it's, you know, it's nobody that's going to cause harm or injury to, you know, anything that we're doing. But I just thought it was significant because the ranger community, I mean, these are people that we don't hold our tongues real well. You know, we kind of make known what we think. And I don't think that they would be so deferential to be like, whatever you say, I think is great, you know, and just, I think they would say, no, I think this is horrible, or
For sure.
you need to turn the other way. And so I talked to 50 plus people, and I thought, okay, I drew up an executive summary, and then sat on that really for a couple of months, because I knew if we move forward, this was going to be a really heavy lift for a while. And
it's a huge commitment.
I've been through enough to know that it takes time, it takes perseverance. There are going to be some really good days, but there are going to be some really, really low days too. You know, to where you question things. And so I knew all of that was coming, and just really had to think about it and to decide whether or not it's something I was going to press forward with. And then had to talk with some people to say, hey, if I turned the gas on this, will you join me, and will you help lead this? And that's, and as a part of those discussions, I guess going back to your original question, as a part of those discussions, what came out of it is, even though we have a lot of different organizations serving the Army Ranger community, the last thing I wanted to do was start another organization. I really was thinking this would roll up under an existing organization. But what came out of those conversations is, hey, this requires its own organization so that when people give to it, they know exactly what it is that they're giving to. And there's no doubt in there where those funds are going. So that was the birth of the Ranger Legacy Foundation. And starting an organization, then there's a lot of work that you need to do to set the cornerstone up to be successful. You can start an organization really fast. Like, it doesn't require much, $1,000 in a couple of days, and you've got an organization. But if you want to do it well and you want to set it up for sustainable success and for a big project, then you've got to start maneuvering people into place and to be able to lead, grow, influence. And it ushered in a lot more conversations that needed to take place.
That is awesome. And I pulled up I pulled up the website, and I was looking at today. I was just blown away by these sports coaches. Actually, I've been looking at them as you've been posting them on social. And I'm like, man, I need one of these cool coats. And I'm kind of going in a completely different direction. But tell us a little bit about how is the fundraising going with it, if you, as much as you can talk about that, and then the sports co. What's the deal with them?
Yeah. So the fundraising, I mean, it's very rare when you're going to ask somebody, how's the fundraising going? They're going to be like, great. I'm just
I know it.
So it's always slower and less than where you want it to be. And that's definitely the case here. But we've got a fairly unique situation in which we know that we are going to have a $20+ million campaign that we will officially announce. Hopefully by the end of this year, we'll be able to officially put a stamp on it and say we're in campaign. But now we're doing it as a brand new organization that had no funding, that had brand new leadership. And so in doing it that way, which I think is the best thing in the long run, there's a whole lot that you've got to establish. And people knew me in the community representing a certain organization. And so it takes time to kind of break free from that and shift
rebrand.
Right. And shift focus into another area, while also not taking away from anything. And I think that's important, is that I want the entire Ranger community to thrive and do well and eat well. So the last thing we want to do is come in and start throwing elbows and make room for us. And I had spent many years, I helped build events that raises significant money in the Ranger community. I helped facilitate other events that raises significant money. I created events that raise significant money for various different organizations. And so now I'm coming in a completely different role, not wanting to injure any of that, but also having to figure out where our place is while building the foundation so we can ask for some really major dollars to go in behind this project. So I mention all that because we knew at the beginning it was going to be a phased approach, and we needed to garner audience. We didn't have any audience. Right now we're not a membership-based organization, so we don't have a database. All we have are relationships, that we got to start pulling in. And so that takes a lot of conversations as people are trying to figure out how things are fitting now and what all of this is. A lot of transparency. And if you want to be transparent, you've got to be super intentional about that, which creates work. Like, it's not, it's none of it's like real easy.
True.
And so I broke it down into, we needed to raise $100,000 was the first goal. And that $100,000 was going to enable us to be able to start and just like run an organization and then and fund a few things that's going to help us garner audience, but then also would help seed the first initial efforts on doing some evolving the conceptual design on this and getting us closer to a finished product. We've met that goal and surpassed that goal. And so now we've moved into the second phase, which is raising $1 million. And what that $1 million is going to do, or should be able to do based on how the cards fall out, is it will allow us to purchase the land that this will go on. I'm thinking, unless we get into a situation and it's just a lot more. I mean, we are looking at properties. It's a lot more than that, but I think our best would be that it puts us in the situation where we can purchase the land and that we're able to hire the team that's going to journey with us through this. So the architect, the civil engineer, the people that's going to dig in the ground, the general contractor, a project manager, those types of things that's going to help us facilitate this project. To raise $1 million in the beginning stages, as we're trying to develop relationship with foundations and corporations and stuff, which takes a while because we've got to garner their trust. We've got to get on their roles to have them want to give to us versus some of the other initiatives that they're doing. That doesn't come in a heartbeat. Is that we developed the Camo Jacket Society. And in essence, the Camo Jacket Society should seed this effort with $1 million that comes not necessarily directly from the community, because anybody can be a part of it. And we have members of corporations that are joining, and we have people outside of the Ranger community that are joining. It's funny you mentioned, hey, I want one of those jackets. It's like we do, people feel like it's just a Ranger thing, but it's not. It's folks that want their legacy tied to this legacy. And so if we sell out of that, we've raised $1 million. And I think that's an important $1 million to be able to show to private foundations, to show to major investors in this, that our community is super bought into this. Like they're so bought into it, that they're showing and wearing their pride and advocating. And so just the development of the Camo Jacket to formally get it launched was about a year effort from beginning to end. I mean, we had the strategy early on, but then how do you bring that to life? And it seems simple, right? We're doing
it's not simple.
But
that's not simple.
It's a custom tailored one-off jacket that somebody is getting, and it has been a process that my chairman Jeff Struker really, he's really taken that one on and has done such a great job.
That's amazing. Wow. So much to unpack here and for me to process, and I'm really, you are making an impact. Just to tell you that you said something earlier that maybe you weren't making an impact or you didn't feel like it, but you are. And I think that it was probably a great thing that you stepped away so you could look at look at it from a higher ground. So I think that's really important. And now, here you are, you're back and you're really driving this Ranger Legacy Foundation, which I could see it when I don't know where it was, if it was social media or you told me about it, or I think you did tell me about it. It was on a reacquaintance call after your sabbatical. Actually, I don't think we had spoken in probably 8 years. And when I saw it, I was like, I could see this thing in my brain. Like I could see it with the grass. Like I could smell the grass outside the building. So I know what's going to happen. If you're leading it, it's going to happen. I know that for a fact. And I don't just tell that to all the guests. I would say, oh yeah, you're going to make it happen, but I know you will.
Well,
for
and I
sure.
think part of that is that ranger mindset, right? And I want people, because I'm a civilian, true, right? I don't have any military connections outside of what I've done, or the landscape that I've navigated in, and it's made such a big difference in my life and how I approach things. And it's so positive and it's so cool. And like I see people that are miserable and they don't have direction and they aren't committed to something. They don't have purpose. And
Purpose.
And I'm like, this can be like, we can help people really connect to something. And even if it's not, they come in and they get connected to rangers and then that becomes their thing. But if they're inspired by that ranger creed, the way that I was, that ranger creed inspires you to greatness. It makes you, like, if you breathe it and say it, it makes you, like, instantaneously, it makes you stand up, put your shoulders back, put your chin up, and behave differently. Right? No more cowering, no more sitting down saying, woe is me. Like, get up. Like, life is hard, but we can do this. And I think that we can do that 1,000 times over with people walking into the space. And that's one of the things that motivates me. It motivates me for rangers because it's the right thing to do for the ranger community, but it's also the right thing to do for investing in our communities and inspire communities to something more and different as well. It's a two-pronged approach.
Love it. What's next? What's next for Candyss? I know you're going to be at VETSOCIAL 25, obviously, but what's next for Ranger Legacy Foundation and also for you for the remainder of the year or even into 2026?
Yeah. So several key things are happening for us. I'm looking forward to VETSOCIAL and talking about I think it feels kind of frilly, the Friendology, but I tell you, it's so important. The whole concept of being connected to each other is fundamentally important. And so I get to talk about that. And so I love that. We at the Ranger Legacy Foundation, I told you we've got that $1 million goal. And, right now where we're sitting, I still feel very confident in it because, when you're prospecting, you're looking at people, there's folks that are capable, that are just kind of hovering out there and waiting. And so I know that we're getting ready to pull them into the fold. But it's still a big goal.
There's a lot of ranger businesses out there. They better open up their wallets.
There's a lot of rangers.
I mean, come on. Yeah, there's a lot of rangers doing big things. I mean, come on.
We need to get to the position where
I don't want to put them on the spot, but come on. I mean,
we haven't made any direct asks yet. So
don't worry, I'll do it. I'll do it for you. Come on. Black Rifle Coffee. I know you're probably not watching this, but where's the money? Show me the money.
People know it's coming. People know it's coming. I always, they say they're watching everything, and I was like, well, I haven't made any direct ask yet, but it's coming. And
you got a lot of rangers in your radius. I'm not going to mention who, but you got a lot of them. They need to open up their wallets too, or at least make the connections.
Yeah, no,
I think they will too.
I think they will. When rangers are great when you I don't want to say I'm giving, but when you give them a task to tackle, they're going to tackle it. When we kind of go on target for something, we're going to achieve that. And So I know that that's coming, but a part of that process is that we have submitted an RFP for architect and design work. That's out. And so for the next month, that RFP will be out. We'll start getting responses, and we'd like to be hiring that team for some pre-design work. And what I mean by pre-design is they'll take now the concept that we're in, the scope that we have now, and re-envision it into, you know, how they see it all with their components pulling it together as well. That now we'll be able to take and say, okay, here, this is the next evolution of this, is the next iteration of this. This is, now we're getting real close to what it is that we're going to do. And now we can put that in front of people and say, this is what we're asking you to invest in specifically. And that's when we're going to go out and we'll start making those direct asks for very specific investments. And a part of that is the land.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, and a part of that is the land. And so we're exploring land right now. Now, there's a piece of land that I feel like is, and I have from the beginning, that's going to be our home, but we still need to, we need to check all those boxes. We need to look at what all is available to us and go through it and talk through it and see what that right home is. But when we can show people this is our land, and this is what we're going to do with it, and this is what it's going to take to do it. Now, this is how we're asking you to be a part of that. Then that's when we really start cooking with hot sauce. And so right now it's just maneuvering all of these pieces to kind of get to that point. Or else we'll wear people out. Like if we're out there just kind of willy-nilly asking, we're going to wear, it's like the boy who cried wolf. Like we'll wear people out before we ever get to the good stuff, you know?
True. And you know how to leverage your network, which is robust. Let me ask you, we know plans fall apart on first contact and all of that great stuff, but let's just say in a vacuum, everything goes to plan. When will we physically see your vision manifested?
Yeah. I mean, I would like to say in 4 to 5 years, like we'll be able to open the doors to something. Will probably be in campaign 18 to 24 months is what I suspect. I would like it to be 18 months. That would be lovely. Most likely, most campaigns that I've seen and researched is that, you know, you kind of get that big hit, and then getting that last $1 million or $2 million in takes a little bit longer. So we will most likely timeline it over 18 months. I'd love to be able to launch it by the end of this year. And then not quite sure. I won't know until we, you know, look at the scope and timeline it. But I think we'd probably be 18 to 2 years in building out phases of the campus, you know, the first phase of what we would be doing. But as soon as we have land, I mean, we'll be able to have events. We'll be able to start, like, you think about the good old days, like the barn raisings and people coming together under the tents. I mean, we'll start utilizing that space and leveraging the space for us. That's why it's so important that we get real serious about where that home is going to be.
Amazing. So right now, I'm just Ryan off the street. I go to rangerlegacy.org. I think that's the right website, right? Rangerlegacy.org. Yeah. What are some ways that Ryan or Bob or whoever, Sally, could get involved with the Ranger Legacy Foundation?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of ways that people can get involved. And I actually had one of my advisors say, hey, I think you need to dial it back a little bit and provide less options, you know, at the beginning. And but one of the things that I encourage people in this project is that there is room for everybody wherever your heart wants to come into the project. And that's important to me because I've never had much financial wealth in my life. I've always had a lot more heart than I have had in dollars. And but I have always felt like I've been able to contribute to the things that I'm passionate about in the ways that I can contribute. And so I wanted to make sure that we created ways that if we had companies that wanted to provide product, that we would be able to take and leverage that project to the greater good. If we had experiences, people that had experiences, and we'd be able to leverage that. That we want to be able, we do have ways that people can contribute financially any way they can perceive giving financially. We have a method to be able to leverage that, whether that be $1 to legacy gifts. We've got that in order and ready to go. We're building now the volunteer infrastructure, which will be fairly robust. I mean, Brian, I sat down, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and I think I mapped out about 25 different roles and responsibilities for various different volunteer positions, ambassadors, event volunteers, to board of advisors, to the various different committees that we'll have. So all of that has been mapped out, and now we're going into a recruitment phase for that, because if we are going to be successful, it can't happen with just a couple people. Like it has to be a full-on assault. Like
it takes a ranger community.
Yes, it's going to have to be a full-on assault, and
for
so
sure.
We're building that. What would it be? It would be like a platoon, I guess. I don't. Bigger.
It sounds like it. Yeah. It's awesome. Well, I think we're coming to the very end, unfortunately. But any final parting words for VETSOCIAL Voices?
Well, just thank you. I mean, thank you, Ryan, for giving us the opportunity, all of us, the opportunity to have voice. You know, I think that that's such a special thing, and to have conversations and to be connected. And I just love hearing from people. I love exploring all relationships. And it's very rare if we connect with each other, that we can't find a way, even if it's not at that moment, we don't find our way back to figuring out how to support each other. And you are somebody that does so good at, you're constantly tapping at things, and you're constantly looking at how to connect people and create alignment. And so anybody that feels any kind of draw to an alignment in something that we're doing here, I'd love to talk to them, and
I'll do it.
Yeah, and figure out how.
I keep on interrupting you. Sorry. No, I took 100%. I will, and I think anyone who's watching this at this point should definitely think about how they can contribute, really collaborate. I believe in collaboration, communication, and grit. Those are my 3 guiding values. So hopefully there are people that find alignment with it. I mean, there's always people looking to give back, whether it's to the veteran community or just to the community as a whole. And this could be one way of doing it, so that's amazing. So thank you. I mean, it's a little late, so I appreciate it. And you were a good sport about me saying, let's fire it up with just let's do it. Let's just fire it up. We'll have 0 people on there. We did have a few people show up, but I don't think they liked my mug. So, but actually, I was going to tell you, and this is true, your talk on Friendology from VETSOCIAL 24, I uploaded that onto Spotify. I'd cut it and uploaded it. And that actually was one of the most listened to and downloaded episodes of it. So you got a whole through it. No, just kidding. It was a couple hundred. So the word is getting out there, Candyss, about your new philosophy. So no, but thank you. And until next time, I'm going to kick you out, and we'll definitely chat soon and catch up. I'm really excited about you coming back to Vet Social 25 and being a part of, you're being a part of my thing, my give back. And I couldn't do it without people like you and the rest of the community as a whole. Just would not happen. And it's just amazing when I get to work with so many, collaborate, align with so many awesome people. So
yes,
thank you.
Well, thank you for what you do.
All right. Wow. Just a tremendous human being. And definitely head over to rangerlegacy.org and check it out. And I'm telling you, if you can swing one of those camo jackets and be part of their Camo Jacket Society, you might look pretty suave in that. I could see some young bucks with the camo jackets headed to the club. I'm sure that's not exactly what Ranger Legacy Foundation wants, but it would still be pretty cool altogether. So rangerlegacy.org, head over there. And again, of course, this is Vet Social, so we have to really just hammer it home that on 12 and 13 September, come join us. Veteran Social Summit. Do I even know where we're going? VeteranSocialSummit.com. I got this under control. Seriously, though, head over there. The registration's free, so head over there for free. It's not going to hurt you to register. It's not going to hurt you. And I'm telling you, 70 speakers. I can't even believe I'm saying this. I don't even know how we're going to pull it off. 70 speakers are going to bring just crazy amounts of value. How can you beat that? And it's free. Are you kidding me? We have so many amazing people. Okay, enough of, all of that. I want to thank you again. And we're out for now. Let me end this and have a good evening or a good day, whenever you're listening to this, and start climbing higher.
So when I met Ryan Hunt and Annette Wittenberger, they kept talking about this amazing idea that they had and had previously been successful at, but it had been paused and they wanted to keep going with it. And they were talking about how veterans can learn resources about entrepreneurship, education, really connecting with our fellow veteran community and being successful. So obviously I wanted to be a part of that. And I am really excited to be a part of 2025 because we are going to have even more amazing speakers and resources.